So now we're on to 13.5, box and whisker, and I actually like these a lot. So box and whisker, we're going to use our measures of variation to make this. The length of the box itself represents our interquartile range, or IQR. The line that is drawn vertically somewhere inside the box, doesn't have to be in the middle, but that's your median. The other two vertical lines are your upper and lower quartile. These whiskers connect the lower quartile to the lower extreme, or the minimum value, and the upper quartile to the upper extreme, or max value. So instead of reinventing the wheel, I just wrote down our values from problem 1 we did earlier. So our lowest, our minimum, is 43. Quartile 1, lower quartile, is 54. Our median was 69. Our upper quartile was 73, and our max value is 194. So we're going to use those values, and we're going to make our box and whisker. The important thing to remember is you're going to make a number line, not take the values that are from your data set and just write those down. You're going to make a number line. So I'm going to start here with 40. And of course, I'm doing this on a computer freehand, so it's not going to be perfect. But I'm going to go all the way up to 200. So this will be, let's see, I'll do 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, and this will be my 200. Try to get them as evenly spaced out as you can. All right, so now I'll go in and go by tens here. And I'll label these as well, so it'll be easier to graph them. So this was 60, 80, a little messy, but we can deal with it. So now we're going to go ahead and put our values onto this number line. So the smallest was 43, so I'm going to go ahead and put a point where 43 would be close to, and then we have 54 for our lower quartile. That's going to be a vertical line at 54. I'm just going to write those values in here too. Another vertical line at 69, so right before that 70 marker. Not as precise as I would like, but it's going to be okay. And then upper quartile is 73. 75 would be there, so 73. And then our highest value is 194, so it's way over here. So the vertical lines create the box, and then the whiskers are from our upper and lower quartiles to the max and min. And we'll pretend that's straight. So that is our box and whisker. Now, here we have some important information that sometimes I use on a lot of standardized testing. They want to know where 25% of the values are. Remember, we broke this into quartiles. So this zone here, from the lowest to the lower quartile, is 25%. From your lower quartile to your median, 25%. Median to upper quartile, 25%. Upper quartile to upper extreme, 25%. And where's 50%? Well, you could put two 25s together. 50% in the box, 50% out of the box on both sides. 50% from the lowest to the median. 50% from the median to the highest. Where's 75%? From your lowest value to your upper quartile. From your lower quartile to your highest value. Because we're just putting 25% together. All right, so those are going to be helpful for some of the questions we'll see later on. So let's go ahead and try another one. We'll use the values from problem 3. So the lowest value was 5, the lower quartile was 8.5, median was 11, the upper quartile, I just noticed I have HQ instead of UQ, is 17.5, and then the max is 35. So we're going to go from 5 to 35 for our number lines. So let me just get my pen back here. All right, so we'll say 5, maybe 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. You could extend that further if you want to, but we just definitely have to have our lowest value on our graph and our highest. So what do? We're going to put a point or bullet on the lowest and the highest. So on that 5 and 35, there's one and there's another. And then we draw vertical lines on our Q1, Q2, and Q3. So Q1 is 8.5, so that would be about here. Median is 11, so that'd be just a little bit higher than the 10. And then Q3 is 17.5, so that would be right around here. All right, so then we create the box and the whiskers. And let me just put the values there so everyone knows that it's 35 and 5. So if somebody asks, hey, what percent is between 8.5 and 17.5 in this data set? You could say, hey, it's 50%. They said, what percent is higher than 8.5? That would be 75%. So this is some of the ways that you'll be asked questions based upon box and whisker plots. Why don't you pause the video and write the data for the next problem in order and try to find the median, lower, and upper quartile on your own, and then you can hit play and we can see how you did and we can make our box and whisker together. All right, so I found my median was 673, my lower quartile was 664, my upper quartile was 677. And again, I like this because I can see, hey, there's two values here. Two values, two values, two values. So it's split perfectly in our quarters. So I'm going to go ahead and make my points for my lowest and highest values. So 645 is here. And I drew my number line. I went by 5s. And then 679 would be right in front of that 680 mark there. My lower quartile is 664, so 664 would be right about here. Again, if we had a paper with number lines, we could do a lot better. 673 would be right around here, and then 677. So I'm going to connect my box, connect the whiskers to the lower and upper quartile, and then I'm just going to put my values there so it's precise and we can see what everything is. So that is how we make a box and whisker. And again, I like box and whiskers. You can find out your median really quickly just by looking at it. You can figure out your range because your highest and lowest values are quick to see. You can figure out your IQR. And you can also, there we go, know your upper and lower quartiles really quickly. So what does it tell us about the data? We could say a lot of different things. We could say that 50% of it is between 664 to 677. You could say 50% from 645 to 673. You could say 50% from 673 to 679. You could say that between 25% for this region, this region, this region here, or this region. You could do 75%. I'll write these down because there's not as many. From 645 all the way up to 677. Or you can say 75% from 664 to 679. And last one, you could say 100% from 645 to 679. So this is Box and Whiskers. Hopefully you love them. I happen to enjoy them. And we'll practice some. All right, have a good one.